So we're set up on Zoom, and I thought, hey, why don't we just do a quick call for this episode? And I said, let's call right now, and let's talk for 15 minutes. And then you're like, I can't. I have a delivery coming. I'm like, what? Like, you were just waiting. We're ready. And I'm like, you're like, can we do it later? I'm like, forget it. I'm going to work. I'll talk to you later.
If I talk to you, you might be able to fish it out of me, you know?
Welcome to episode 2 of All In with Colin. I'm your host, Colin Capone. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to have a conversation with my friend Asif Warris, aka the Poker Tourist. We're going to talk about how Rafael Nadal played a part in us getting to know each other. He's going to also give you some advice on what you should do after you travel to a different city to play a live tournament and you bust out. And we're going to share how he just won a contest put on by the Poker Stars Poker in the Ears podcast, where he won a Platinum Pass for the second time. That's right, this luck box was also a Platinum Pass winner in 2019. Now, before we get to that, I want to give you my tournament pick of the week. Something that I think has tremendous value that any recreational player should want to play. Okay, have you heard of the Super Millions on GG Poker? Well, that's like a 10K buy-in, so usually it's a pipe dream for most of us recreational players. Even the satellites are usually pretty hard and pretty expensive. Well, we might have a shot now. This Sunday, January 29th, they're having a $10 satellite on GG Poker that's going to have 10 seats guaranteed for the Super Millions. That's 100K guaranteed for $10. I think that's super sick. It would be amazing if one of us qualified. So, I hope that you guys give it a shot. And I know for sure I'm going to be in the mix. $10 into 10K. I like the sound of that. Going forward on this podcast, I want to share success stories of people who've had recent success in poker as well that may not get the credit. They're not a big name, but they deserve a shout out. So I asked on Twitter for people to send in your success stories that I could share, and a bunch of people did. If I don't get to yours on today's episode, don't worry, I will get to it on a future episode. Okay, so here we go. Poker Nicky. He took first in the $2.50 Sunday Monster Stack on GG Poker for $1,161. So, less than a cup of coffee, and he turned it into over $1,100. I love it. Sherry Plaskoda, she's made 3 live final tables in 30 hours, so she's on fire. Glenn Frosty Nug, he won a free roll on PokerStars for a $100 ticket. Then he turned that into a $1,000 ticket. Then he turned that into a step 4 victory. And he won himself a Platinum Pass, so he's off to the Bahamas. I actually was playing live with him a few weeks ago in a $100 local tournament. So it's a pretty small world out there. Some jerk in Winnipeg, that's his screen name. He's been building his bankroll up. His last deposit was for $20 in September. And now he's sitting at over $500 bankroll after withdrawing over $700 in profit. Well done. Bobby Too Nice, crushing it out there, took second in a $109 Sunday warm-up on ACR, $23,000, incredible score. Hambling Gabbett had a couple awesome runner-up scores on PokerStars PA. One was $20 into $1,877, and the other one was $30 into almost $1,000. Well done. Keisha played a free roll on ACR, snagged a 1K bounty. Let's go. There's been a few people crushing it live recently. Lenny Sofsky won a WSOP circuit seat from Club GG, turned that into an 80th place finish for over 3K. That's going to pay for a lot of membership. Infinite Flip had his best score ever in a $400 WSOP circuit event for $41,000. Said he paid off some bills. That's a nice feeling. Evan Thomas traveled to Calgary from BC to play the WSOP Calgary Circuit Series. Played a bunch of events totaling $3,550 in buy-ins. Cashed out for $57,250. And got himself a WSOP ring. And finally, back to the online felt. Sebastian, aka Donkomania on GG Poker, he won an $8 satellite and got into the $50 Global Millions event. He then took 8th place out of 18,009 entries in the Global Millions. Forget this, $11,766. That's an incredible score, and it all started from $8. So don't sleep on satellites, people. If you want a shout out next week, then hit me up on Twitter at PokerCapone. I'm very excited to welcome my next guest to the show. He is very well known in the UK poker scene. He's a recreational poker player who loves to combine poker with travel. He's a satellite specialist and has won tons of live event packages to events all around the world. And now a 2-time Platinum Pass winner, Asif the Poker Tourist. Asif, welcome to All In with Colin. How are you?
Hello, Colin. How are you?
I'm good, but not as good as you because you're going to the Bahamas again.
Well, I what can I say? I got a bit lucky. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to go anyway because I'd been trying to qualify online, various other things, but mainly online. And I was frustrated because I'd been close a couple of times. I stone bubbled it one
I
time,
remember when you bubbled it. That was a heartbreaker.
going far back as 2019 when they first announced it in Barcelona. Only a month or a couple of months later, I played a qualifier online, which was 3,000 players, which were whittled down to 6 players. And then those 6 were going to play a live sit and go at Lex Live.
I remember that.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't taking it as seriously as I should have at the time. I ended up finishing like 3rd or 4th.
So you've been trying to win this for years. And again, you won the last Platinum Pass both times. So in the first PSBC, you got the last Platinum Pass available.
Yeah,
and then this time.
Yeah, because I literally got that on the 31st of December. Well, I can remember exactly, so there's no point me saying approximately. It was like 5:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve, yeah.
So first, I'm going to go back a bit. So we've been friends for about 10 years. Actually, I think it's almost exactly 10 years since.
Yeah, it's like 2012. It was just before the London Olympics, I remember.
Yeah. So what happened was Poker Stars at that time signed Rafael Nadal, and then they had a competition called Help Rafa, where you had to send in a video of giving a poker tip to Rafa. So I remember, I'm 10 years younger. I remember at the time I had a Motorola cell phone. This was like before iPhones. So I had a Motorola cell phone, and I remember putting it in my.
I don't think it was that before iPhones.
Well, actually. I never had an iPhone anyway. Maybe not in Canada, but I had this old Motorola phone, and I remember taking a video and I did a couple tips, and then I entered the competition and a couple times, and I remember we both made the weekly finals. And I remember your video stuck out to me because it was first I was like, it's hilarious
because it was good.
it was good, but it was also I remember that your desk in the video had the most stuff on it that I've ever seen it fit on any desk. It was just there was stacks and stacks and stacks of paper and clutter.
There's something that's not changed.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm using the virtual background?
Yeah, no kidding. So I remembered that, and then I didn't win. You made the finals. I don't think you won either. I think you may have got a poker chip set out of the deal.
No, I was in the 6 finalists. They did it for 6 weeks. So every week they picked 3. And then they whittled them down to 6 finalists. And I was there. And all I can say is I was robbed.
Well, you know what? You've made up for it since, but I haven't been because, you know what? I've entered a lot of stars competitions over the years. And I never make it. I always, get close, but then if it was a poker tournament, I'm busting in a 11th always or 10th. I'm close, but I don't actually get to the finals.
Well, poker stars have that switch that they switch it back and forth depending how good you've been.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you must have been good. But then I remember how we became friends. So I remember after that competition ended, I remember playing satellites and I seen your screen name Asif. So I would always type in chat. What's up, Rafa?
Rafa.
Hello, Rafa. And so then you started, and you would respond. So we would, kind of communicate in the client, which I always like because I like to chat with when I play poker, and so do you. And then somehow I don't even know where, but now we're on Facebook and Messenger, so now we talk all the time. So yeah, a couple of weeks ago, you were whining to me about, I never won a Platinum Pass and all this. But
no, I don't. I wasn't really whining. It was just that there wasn't really much opportunities left to win one. I decided basically, if I want to go, I'll go anyway myself.
Yeah, I remember you were saying, should I go? Should I book a flight there? And you'll try. They had some really small feeder satellites, so you're going to try to play a satellite into a satellite and then try to win yourself a Platinum Pass.
Yeah, because I'd seen that on the schedule. It was possible to qualify live. Obviously, quite unlikely, but there was something for me to do, and I do need an excuse for something to do. Plus, I think on the second week, Stars are adding a really nice 550 mystery bounty tournament, which is going to be like crazy. Especially they've positioned it, or shall we say, priced it at a level that most of the Platinum Pass visitors will be able to play at. you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of the qualifiers will definitely play that mystery bounty. So at that time, did you book any accommodations?
I did book a couple of Airbnbs. Both of them got
remember.
cancelled, and that's when I was whining to you that it wasn't really possible to go. And obviously, I'd convinced myself that I wasn't going, blah blah blah. And that was Saturday or Sunday, and then Monday morning I got up and did exactly the opposite and booked another Airbnb.
So you booked it. You said, "F it, I'm going." You're going to go. And I said, worst case, you're having a trip. You're in the Bahamas.
So then I booked my flights a couple of days later. And then we had this Platinum Pass meetup in Dublin. We had one in London the week earlier, but because of train strikes, nobody could go. So I thought, well, okay, the flights are cheap. I'll go to Dublin. There was a sit and go and also like a meetup lunch. So I went there and I met I think there was in total 7 or 8 Platinum Pass winners, including my friend Alex Irwin, who I already knew because he qualified last time. And basically we were chatting and reminiscing about, the past event, what a great time we had and how exciting it was. And we were both resigned to not going. So whilst we were waiting for this to start, I remember Alex saying, "Oh, have you seen this competition that Poker in the Ears have announced?" And I thought, yeah, it's going to be something with about, 10,000 people entering or something like this. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking. And you had to go on Discord channel, register your interest. And they had what they call a 3-day period. And by the end of Sunday, you had to have registered your interest. If you had registered your interest by then, on Monday morning, they were going to send out a communication to you via direct messenger. And you had to respond to that. And the first 50 people who responded to that, so I did, and also you did.
And I did. And it was a lot harder for me because UK time is a lot different than Canada time. So I had to set an alarm for 3 a.m. So 3 a.m., my alarm goes off on my phone. I get up. I go to the washroom because I don't want to be my wife wondering, who am I texting? Why is he on his phone in the middle of the night, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hitting refresh, waiting for this DM. I'm waiting for this DM at 3 a.m. I'm like, where's James? Come on, James. And there's nothing. And I do it for 10 minutes. I'm sitting there. And then I exit the DMs, and then I notice he posted it in the forum, and it was the link. And I'm like, oh, God. So I click the link, and I get my name, and I think I must have been one of the last 50 because somehow I still made it, but I was just by one of the last 50.
Well, lots of people were upset that they hadn't made it. I don't really use Discord very much, at all, really. And then I did notice I was on the case at 10 p.m. And then I think I got the message. I saw something was flickering or whatever it was in there. 2 minutes passed, and then I quickly did responded to the survey thing. Well, they were using a survey type app to respond to. And I got it off quite quickly. I think maybe 6 minutes past 10, 8 minutes past 10, something like that.
Perfect. So we both made it. We were in the final 50. There was a bunch of people disappointed. So then we're like, well, we need a 1 outer, right? But then the next day, now he's going to send some forms and you got to sign those and get them back in. So again, middle of the night, 4 a.m. this time he sends them. But I do them. I get them in. You get them in. We're in. So then the following day, now it's a reasonable time. It's 9 a.m. Okay. So I'm working.
Yeah, it was like from 4. So they were going to contact people in the group of 50 randomly from 4 p.m. UK time till 6 p.m. And obviously, I had a shower. I was ready,
Yeah. So we had to accept the friend request on Zoom, which we did. So now there's 50 people waiting. And then what they said was they're going to call somebody at random. And if they don't answer, too bad, they're on to the next one. Yeah. And if you do answer, they ask you a trivia question. And if you win, you get a platinum pass. So I remember, and we thought they're going to do it because they've been very punctual with this. So it opened up in the morning, my time. And we were both sitting on, and we kind of tested our Zoom 10 minutes before it started to make sure we were working. And we were in these outfits that we're wearing.
Exotic clothes,
Yeah, so I put on my beach clothes, my sunglasses that I'm wearing now, the nice background. And when you did the same.
I had to put the hat on because the shine would have dazzled them all from my head,
Nice. So we're ready to go. And then 9 o'clock up happens my time, 4 p.m. your time. And we're both sitting there and nothing. Yeah. We don't get a call.
We were sitting for, I don't know, I was sitting for, it's nearly 3:30 now. like 30 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, they're giving one pass away. They will have got at least one person who's responded by now.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. Sorry, I was literally about to leave. And then I see the ringing. And I'm not even familiar with the ringing of the Zoom at all. So it was like a Skype thing, I could see that. So I answered it. And then I couldn't hear anything. So my mic was off. So first I had to adjust my mic. And I'm rushing around trying to do this because I'm thinking maybe they'll just drop me for not being ready,
Sure.
So I did that. And then suddenly, I think Chris, the producer, was talking to me and we got it set. And before I knew it, I'm on the Skype call, or sorry, not the Skype call, the Zoom call with Joe and James. And it's game on. And straight away, James is basically outlining what's happened, i.e. the first caller didn't answer. The second caller was Alex Irwin, and he won the pass. And I'm thinking, well, if he's won the pass, why are they ringing me? Then they told me they had decided there was another pass available. And they'd rung the third guy who had, unfortunately, well, he answered the question of Bahamas, which is a subject I would have also chosen. But and they asked him, the question was, what is the name of the airport? It's named after a prime minister of the Bahamas, a previous prime minister. A weird one because, as I said, I was looking for the Airbnb thing. On there, on the map, prominently it says Lyndon Pinn Airport,
Okay, so he got the question wrong, so then they went on to you, and then you had to pick a category.
When it came to my question, when it came to my call, James said that the Bahamas has already gone. So I thought, well, as much as I like the PCA, I'll go for this. And it was a funny thing because a couple of hours earlier, like 3, so I said the calls were going to be at 4 p.m. And at 3 p.m., I was just quickly having a look at the Hendon mob for the actual PCA, championship, who the finalists were, that type of thing. And I remember the name of, one of the guys there. So, and I thought, what question can they ask? And I actually sort of envisaged them asking the question they asked me, which was basically name the 2 finalists that made the final table of the PSPC, and then I thought, well, obviously Kalilius is one, Roman,
right,
and then the other one, and I knew it roughly because I was there. I was standing there, railing the final table. And I remember watching the TV programs afterwards, and they were making prominently pointing out that he was a Platinum Pass winner. Yeah, so I knew the name. So here's the thing. This was the silly thing. At the time, just before, I was thinking, well, if they ask me this question, I'll know the answer. So I'm going to do the, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing where can I phone a friend? And they'll say, why? And I said, well, yeah, because I just want to tell them that I'm just about to win a Platinum Pass.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When they gave me the 4 options, they said, and the first 3, I'm thinking, well, hang on, these aren't the guys. And then the 4th one, as soon as they said the guys, Mark Rivera,
yeah.
Oh my God. And I thought, because it's so exciting.
I watched the video. You blurted the answer out.
Yeah, it was tense because, first of all, we really weren't expected to get the call. Yeah. And then once you got the call and then you've got this question to answer for a 30,000 pass, it's like, it is a bit stressful if you think about it. You know?
Yeah. And you don't want it's like, or you have the nuts, your time bank's running out, the guy's in. And all you have to do is click call. But what if your internet goes out and you you lose because you're screwing around?
So that would have been a bit of a disaster. Like unbridled excitement that came out. I mean, I came out like a blithering idiot. But okay, that's fine. If I'm winning something for 30,000 that I don't expect to win, like literally even 5 minutes ago, I mean, I was preparing to go out to go and play my local £50 comp in a couple of hours,
Right,
so
which you did go and play.
So, because I was already ready to go. That's what I got ready, and then so I suddenly won this pass. And I'm thinking, what shall I do now? So, yeah, we just went out and played our comp. And obviously, I couldn't tell anybody for 24 hours.
Right. So now let me tell you this. So before the competition, the night before the competition, we kind of asked each other some trivia questions. The morning of the competition, we did the pre-Zoom thing to make sure everything was working for each other. And then 15 minutes into when it started, you're like, you asked me, did you get a call? And I said no, and you didn't get a call. And then I'm like, oh, well, and we could see, because the guy who added us, you could see it said in call, so we knew he was talking to somebody.
Right. You were saying that his video was on.
I could see that, so I'm like, he's talking to somebody. This thing's over, but they said, well, once it's over, they're going to write in the Discord competition over. So we're waiting for that, and then I messaged you a few times. I was looking back at my message history, and I messaged you a few times, and suddenly you didn't respond for a few minutes. And then I talked to you after. I'm like, well, somebody won, or it was a long shot anyway. That was probably your best bluff ever, because we had been talking immediately through it, and then I said to you, and then actually, so we're set up on Zoom, and I thought, hey, why don't we just do a quick call for this episode? Yeah, and I said, let's call right now, and let's talk for 15 minutes. And then you're like, I can't. I have a delivery coming. I'm like, what? Like, you were just waiting. We're ready. And I'm like, you're like, can we do it later? I'm like, forget it. I'm going to work. I'll talk to you later.
If I talk to you, you might be able to fish it out of me, James basically said that I shouldn't say anything until tomorrow.
Until they announce the winner. For sure. They wanted to announce it. So I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. And then what I hope is that you have that bluffing skills while you're in the PSBC or when you're in the Bahamas, because before the competition, you said to me, hey, do you want to swap 5%? If either of us gets picked, the other will get 5% of whatever they win. And I said, sure, now we have 2 shots out of 50, right? So then when you did tell me, you said, yeah, you got 5%. I said, 5% of what? And then you said, think about it. I said, you won? I couldn't believe you pulled that bluff on me. So great job. You're going back to the Bahamas. And now, like last time, you have like a week to get your stuff together. Like you were already going there, but now the pressure's on because
it's like, I'm literally leaving. It's Saturday, 22:43 here. Yeah. So I'm leaving my house here at 2:43 in the morning.
Wow. But you're always somewhere. So they call you the poker tourist. So you're retired, and basically you book a lot of trips around going to poker tournaments, and then you check out. So you don't just go there and play. Like, you'll check out the city you're in, and you get a life experience.
Maybe because I might not last in the poker very long. To me, okay. So this is the thing. I've been doing this for maybe since late 2010, shall we say. That's when I first won my very first package on Stars.
How many packages do you think you've won now, including all the sites?
I really couldn't say. Actually, seats and packages on all sites, maybe up to 100.
Wow, 100 packages. And you don't play the high buy-in level.
Not necessarily packages. Some of them are just seats.
Sure, but 100, that's amazing. And you do it usually like you start at the smallest buy-in level, right?
My average buy-in is like $16 to $22.
Amazing. So $16 to $20, and you have 100 main events you've played somewhere. It's unbelievable.
Maybe it's 80. I honestly
still. I mean, I was gonna guess like 30. That was gonna be my guess. So
no,
way more than that.
Don't be silly. I've been to Prague like 5 times.
You've been to Prague. You've been to. You're in Dublin every other day. You're in the Czech Republic. You were in Australia.
Australia. That is the one. Really, I would never have gone to Australia myself, and I've been 3 times. Wow. Once I was with I had the package from Stars in 2015, but Australia truly, when I used to play the satellites, they were like UK time, like 10 a.m. Because obviously they were based on Australian time. But really, I used to chat with the guys in the chat, and one guy used to always say to me, come to Australia, it's God's own country. And that's true.
Amazing. So
to me, that is more spectacular than the Bahamas and etc. because it's a real place,
So this podcast is geared towards, I've said this, is geared towards amateur players who want to win a live event or a big tournament from low buy-in.
Yeah, of course.
What advice do you have to people who want to be the next poker tourist, or just want to win a package and go somewhere? You got any tips?
Well, you can win. There's 2 things really. You can win a poker package, and then you've also got to have a wanderlust to go and, you can whine for an hour and make up a bad beat story, and then you have to get on with where you are, see what you can do there. Because take advantage that you're in this usually exotic location, or even within Europe, you're in one of the great cities of Europe. and you busted out, well, go and do something else. And
That's
at the
right.
moment, with Stars since COVID, with the live events relaunch, they are offering players a true experience in the sense that apart from the poker, there's so many optional activities that players can partake in. And Stars are being extremely generous at the moment. I'm sure they're going to hope it carries on, but they've got activities for you to do, experiences you can sign up for, and you get the nice hoodies, the goodie bags, everyone. And
So
they
enjoy
are,
that. So do everything.
they are, because a recreational player goes away. They've gone and played the poker. Okay, sure. They would love to cash, but mainly most of the time they're not going to cash, and they're going to come away with, they want to have some memories and they want to have something to show for where they've been.
Exactly.
There are lots of other sites that are doing these things, but they're not offering anything like that, and they're just basically a ticket to go and play poker. Well, really, poker's poker. If I'm so for instance, now I'm going to the Bahamas. Yes, if it could happen. I could bust out very early. Well, I'm going to cry about it, but I'm not really going to let that define my experience for that place. I'm going to go and seek out what else can I do, take advantage of the fact I'm there, and sure, we all want to do well. There's no doubt about that, but you have to sort of be realistic. And I know people will say, oh, well, you're not ambitious. And excuse me, I've played enough. I know what happens.
For sure.
The number of times I've busted out with aces or kings or super premium hands is, well, not ridiculous, but it's there.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So enjoy where you are, is what you're saying. Enjoy. Take it all in.
You enjoy it because, lots of people won't get to travel to these other places again. Me, I don't really mind. I could go and sleep. I used to even use sometimes hostels, nice ones, but I did when I used to travel before COVID. Since COVID, I don't want to do that because
sure,
I don't really want to put myself at risk in any way in that type of thing. But you can find cheap accommodation. You can't always go 5-star if you're traveling around, or 4-star. Sure. And then what's the point? I get up in the morning, have a shower. Hopefully the place has got a kettle. I always have my coffee with me. I can make a coffee, I have some nuts, and I'm ready to go. I don't even need the breakfast, Awesome. And then I'm going to come back to the place or come back to another place at 10 o'clock at night. So does it matter if it's a 5-star luxury resort or, somewhere that's just reasonably clean? Well, clean and, got a nice shower, and that's all you need. So Perfect. If you modify your requirements to that level, then you can travel anywhere, really.
Sure. So I remember a couple of years ago, I won a package I did a day one on Party Poker online, and that was one of the ones, and then they give you some money, and then you go play day 2 live, but you're already in the money. So I was one of the chip leaders, and I went to Montreal at Playground, and I was one of the chip leaders, and I was expecting to go on this big deep run, and then sure enough, I get kings cracked early on, and I'm out. And I remember doing what you said. I'm complaining. I'm texting a buddy, Flow Junkie. He goes by Eric. Yeah. And so I was texting him, complaining, telling him my bad beat story. So I'm in Montreal. Right? I've never been to Montreal, but I've been there. And at this point, I haven't checked out Montreal. I literally flew there. I got to my Airbnb. I've been at the casino for a couple of days, right? And then he says, "What's your address?" So he's like, and I tell him where I am. And then he drove out there. It took him like probably 45 minutes. He drove out, picked me up. I've never met him in real life. So I was like, you're worried. But I talked to him like every day for a while. And I just was like, okay, sure. He picked me up. He took me downtown in Montreal. We went to like the best smoked meat shop I've ever had in my life. Celine Dion owns it. He showed me like some beautiful spots in Montreal. We went and the next day we went for burgers on the there's like a big bay there of water, and we had it. We just incredible time. And I was thinking about it. If I would have just kept going in that tournament and say I have cash and I made the end of day 3, and then I would have got on my flight and flew back, right? But now I saw Montreal because he did that. He picked me up, and it was amazing.
Of course, we all want to play. I mean, as I mentioned before, I went to Aussie Millions, and I busted after in the second level, just before the end of the second level. It was 90-minute levels. This was a 10,000 buy-in.
Wow.
My biggest buy-in or biggest tournament ever. And I busted out with, I had trip aces on the turn, and the other guy had trip sixes, and the money all went in on the turn, and he hits the six on the river. So how horrendous a bad beat sort of that is. And then as a result of that, I then went and spent 28 days in Australia, and it was the best time ever. I went everywhere. I watched the cricket, the World Cup was on. I watched Pakistan versus India in Adelaide. I went everywhere. So there's so many things you can do. You're already there. So if I could have, if I was like, oh, I must go and play the next poker tournament, or satellite, do something, I could have just spent all my money probably, wasting it, in the sense that I probably wouldn't have got anywhere with the poker, and I would have sat there and be miserable and then sort of taking the next flight home. So, I think I'm right.
I think you're right too. You're doing it well. And now you're going to have a great time in the PSPC. I figured out, I pulled out the calculator and I typed in, what's 5% of 5 million? And it's a pretty big number. So
excuse me, 10K cap. 10K cap.
I looked through the message history and I don't think we had a cap.
But that's like a standard, 10K cap.
I don't know about that.
We'll be open to negotiations, shall we say?
But let's just hope you don't bust level 2 this time. Don't get your top set crap.
No, excuse me. I never busted level 2. I made day 2 last time.
No, I'm talking about the
I was actually doing I was so tired, but I did really well. I think in the first, I played the first 6 levels. I had 90,000 chips. We start with a 60,000 stack, and it was like, and then in the last 2 levels, my battery just went, and my concentration, lost a couple of pots, got a bit frustrated, made a few calls maybe I shouldn't have. I had like single pair hands, and like, I think the guys are bluffing you, but it happens.
Yeah, and, I think you're going to do great. You're going to do your second time around. You're going to be, you know what to expect.
Again, I'm going to try my best. Again, it's sort of short notice. If I had got this past, say, 6 months ago, I would have gone into some sort of intensive thing where I would learn how to play poker.
Well, you're gonna have fun. I hope you have a great time. Okay, Asif, so thanks so much for joining me. I know you got a flight tonight. Are you all packed up and you ready to go?
Now I have literally 3 hours to go, so I'm going to try and see if I can get like a couple of hours of sleep, which I won't, obviously, because I'm too excited, and then I have to venture off to Manchester Airport. And I have a flight at 5:30 that goes to Lisbon. I'm going to stay a couple of days in Lisbon. Then I'm off from Lisbon on Tuesday morning to Miami. I'm going to stay 4 days in Miami. And then Saturday, the 28th, which is 1 day before the official PSPC package starts.
Okay, well, keep us posted. I'll be looking for you on the live streams. I'll be railing. So let me know how it goes. Have fun.
I'm just going to be busting out, so I don't have to do that 10K thing or the 5%. You know that, don't you? Just to that's a vindictive type person I am.
I think you want to cash. It'll be good for you.
It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. I tell you the truth. The money would be great, but to cash would be fantastic. Just to have said that you've done it, and obviously because last time I had quite a lot of ribbing that you didn't. Not that I was so bothered about it, but the other thing is, it'd be nice to run deep, obviously, in any tournament.
Sure.
And if that's the case, I'm sure most of my poker friends would benefit. Don't worry about it.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, thanks. That's Asif, the poker tourist. I'll put his links up in the description, so if you want to follow his journey, you can. Thanks, Asif.
All right. Thank you, Colin.
All right, that's a wrap on episode 2 of All In with Colin. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a review. Please subscribe and like and share with your friends. And I'll be back next week with an all-new episode.
We should have done the Rafa rap. We should
should've.
do the Rafa rap. 12 years ago, the rap, and I still have it in my head. How is that possible?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hola, Rafa, always going for the kill. Wondering if poker's luck or skill. The game is easy when you flop a set. The more you practice, the luckier you'll get. Download stars from the mobile site so you can practice day or night. Take advantage of late position. Folding deuces is an easy decision. Give love to the dealer. Get served aces. Praise the poker gods and win your races. One time, baby. Game, set, and match.
Well done. I don't know how you didn't win with that voice.
I don't know about the voice, but the lyrics are
money.
Notch.
Well done.
Top notch, mate. All right, take care.
Okay, take care, buddy.